What's up everyone, it's Benedict here, aka BHL Hudson. Welcome back to the BHL2 channel, and it is finally upon us. The Oscars are here tomorrow or the day after, whenever I decide to post this. We're finally at the end of this very long award season campaign. I've talked about BAFTAs and Golden Globes. I predicted Oscar nominations back in October. I've done a bingo card for the actual ceremony itself. But we're finally here, and it's time to do my final Oscar predictions. Now, since I've talked about these films so much and done so many videos on these awards, I've decided to spice up this video a bit, give you a little extra, a little more bang for your buck here. Not only will I have the prediction for who will win, but I have ranked all the films nominated in each category in descending order. So, besides Best Picture 1 through 5, 1 will be the one that I think will win, that's my prediction, and then I have what are the most likely other ones to win in that order. You get it, we'll figure it out. And also, as a little extra thing, I thought I would rank the films how I would award them in rank of how they should win, in my opinion. Just a little, to give a little extra to this final video. So yeah, without further ado, we got a lot of categories to get through. Let's do it. First of all, visual effects. My prediction for the winner is going to be Avatar, Fire and Ash, and that's followed by Sinners, F1, Jurassic World, and The Lost Bus. I feel like Sinners is going to sweep a lot of the technical categories, and to be honest, as we'll see, possibly most of the categories, but I do feel like, can you give a film Best Visual Effects that is not Avatar in an Avatar year? Even though this one was not as big as the other two, or as well received, really, I still feel like it's the visual effects movie. I feel like it's going to win. Sinners is definitely a follow-up. I feel like it's like a 70-30 chance Avatar Sinners. And then the rest, I don't think they're going to win. Although maybe The Lost Bus will come in with a crazy upset. Who's to say? And in terms of who should win, honestly, I have it the same. Besides, I haven't seen The Lost Bus, so I can't speak on that. Maybe the visual effects in that trump Avatar. Who's to say? But yeah, that's visual effects. Then we have sound up next. My prediction for the winner for the Oscar for sound is F1. If Sinners was not the juggernaut, the sort of awards behemoth that it is, I feel like F1 would be the technical sweeper. And I feel like that will still bleed over into something like sound. It's just because also, I'm not an expert in sound design, but I feel like neither are a lot of Academy members. And a little bit like editing, you might just go to the movie that has like the most obvious example of, sound design. And F1, you got a lot of cars, you got some racing scenes. I'm sure it took a lot of work. You got the little screwdriver drills thing when they screw the wheels off the car, I feel like there's a lot of sound design to be had in F1. I think it will win. Sinners, again, just a general awards darling this year. And it had good sound design. Then One Battle After Another, Frankenstein, Sirat. In terms of who I think should win, I'd say F1 is sort of the obvious choice here. Then I'd probably go Frankenstein, just because it's... I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know a ton about sound design, but I feel like in Frankenstein, with the fantastical aspects of it, with the monster, how much of that is sound design, how much of that is Jacob Elordi, I'm not sure. But, there's machinery in that and stuff as well. I feel like the sound design was pretty good. Sinners as well. I'm not super invested in this race, but that's how I think it will go and how I think it should go. Next up, we have production design. Who do I think will win? My money's on Sinners. I think that's a pretty obvious pick. It has great production design. It's Sinners, we'll talk about this as it goes, but it's such a perfectly designed awards movie between being, prestigious, being fun and entertaining and crowd-pleasing, being about, important social issues, and being, a period piece. It covers a lot of bases. So in terms of production design, it being a period piece comes in handy because, you have to make it seem like the 1920s or whenever it's set, between the town and also the barn, the juke joint they set up, that's a great set as well. In general, just the little details that are added, it's not like a film that spans, tons of different locations, but the production design is very impressive, and also the sets and the locations of the film are, a big part of it, the juke joint is, sort of almost a character in itself in the film, so I think that's a pretty safe bet. Then I would go Frankenstein as the sort of runner-up pick, where it could, it's a fantasy thing, it's Guillermo del Toro, very impressive, fantastical production design. Marty Supreme, again, period piece. Hamnet, set in the past. One Battle After Another, good production design, nothing that really, stands out to me as something crazy. So yeah, that's how I think the descending order of likelihood to win. And in terms of who should win, largely the same, except I would probably say Frankenstein deserves to win more than Sinners, just because I don't know. I feel like there's more, like I said, Sinners is sort of like a largely two-location movie. And they're, the production design is great in both of those, but I feel like the design of various other, I don't know, the sets and the atmosphere and the way it's created in Frankenstein is quite impressive. So I'd probably go that for the one that I think should win. But yeah, that's production design. Next up, we have original song. This is also kind of a no-brainer. Sinners is going to win this for sure. That song is, again, Sinners is a huge movie for these awards, and that song is an integral part of it. It's a great song. It's a great scene. It's part of, the big scene in the movie. So yeah, that's definitely going to win. Then I guess KPop Demon Hunters has the second best chance. Golden, very popular song. That was a popular movie. And then Train Dreams. I don't even remember the fucking song in Train Dreams, I'll be honest, but that probably also has a chance of winning. And then these other two movies that I have not seen. I have not seen the Diane Warren movie or Viva Verde, whatever that is. But yeah, in terms of who I think should win, it's the same thing. The Sinner song is great. Golden is, a kind of fun playing at the mall song. I'm just not a big K-pop person, so maybe that's insulting to people who like that song. But yeah, I'd say that's second. And then I don't remember the song in Train Dreams. So that's going third for me. Haven't seen the other two. Next up, we have Best International Feature. This is one of the tightly contested ones. Honestly, I will say, this award season has been pretty interesting because there's been a lot of swings in momentum that we'll see in like later categories where it seemed like someone's a sure lock to win, or, one battle's a sure thing for Best Picture, and then ebbs and flows and things change. So that will be interesting. And this is one of those where I feel like, I don't know how much it's changed exactly, but it has been a very competitive category for a while. I don't know. For a long time I was like, well, Sentimental Value is the obvious pick here. I do feel like The Secret Agent has a bit of momentum. I feel like Sentimental Value has been like a little bit more locked out of the awards. They've had generally similar success, but I don't know. I could see The Secret Agent taking it. That being said, though, now that I'm talking about it, Sentimental Value is about filmmaking, and they do love that. I mean, I'll be honest. I think this is a 50-50 shot. As I'm looking at this, I feel stupid for not putting Sentimental Value, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say The Secret Agent wins. That's my prediction. Fuck it. Sentimental Value wins. Change the interface, change the thing. I think Sentimental Value takes it. But it is like a 51-49 shot here, in my opinion. If Secret Agent wins, I'm going to be really pissed. But it's between those two. It was just an accident, had a lot of momentum when it came out of, I think it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. But since then, hasn't really picked up much award season-wise. Sirat is not competing with these. And I don't know. I mentioned the possibility of censoring Free Palestine or something at the Oscars, but I don't think The Voice of Hind Rajab is going to win. I think it's the fact that it got nominated is great. That's wonderful, but in terms of giving the award to the pro-Palestine movie, I don't know if the Oscars are going to do that. So that's why I have that at number 5. And in terms of who should win, I've not seen It Was Just an Accident or Sirat yet. But of the three that I have seen, I think Sentimental Value and The Secret Agent are both great. I would say Sentimental Value is better. I would put that at 60% that I'd like it to win. Secret Agent is also very good. And The Voice of Hind Rajab, I mean, this is not a review of Voice of Hind Rajab, so I don't have to get into all the stuff here, but I think, it's a, obviously incredibly powerful piece. I wrote a thing on Letterboxd if you want to check that out for a slightly more in-depth thing, but it's incredibly powerful. It has the real life recordings of this child who's dying, this Palestinian child. I took slight issue with the way it was presented. I think having the real life recordings juxtaposed to actors acting was a little strange. I think it would have worked better as a documentary, because there was something, I'm not gonna say distasteful, but there was something weird about it that I didn't love, that where it's this horribly horribly affecting audio and then actors doing performances. I thought that was a little strange, but yeah, that's why I'd put it there, but still obviously a very important and powerful film. Next up, we have Best Editing. I am picking Sinners for this, mostly because it just seems like a film that's going to sweep a lot of the categories, especially these lower scale or earlier in the night categories. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I mean, I have a ton of respect for the editing process and editors and everything. I don't really generally know how to judge editing in a movie. When it's great, you know it. When it's terrible, you know it. But if you ask me what I thought of the editing in Sinners, like maybe this makes me like a fraudulent movie reviewer, but I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I think it was good. Like I couldn't really point to like something about the editing that was great, but I think it was well edited. Like, I mean, some of these other ones are more like obvious examples, like Marty Supreme. You can pick up on the editing from the like chaotic, frantic nature of it. F1, you have these racing sequences that are really tense, and how they're edited is, you know, impressive. So I think those are also up there as well. But yeah, like One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, they were well edited. But I don't know, I don't think they stand out in like a will win the award. And on who I think should win, actually, that is one thing where One Battle, without, you know, noting the explicit cuts here and there that I think make the film well edited, I think the way that film flows, like a lot of other PTA movies, where it doesn't really feel like it has like a traditional structure, even though it, you know, probably does, but it feels like sort of one flowing thing, and it's like almost 3 hours long or something, but it feels very, I don't know, very like one continuous, it's hard to describe, but the fluidity of PTA movies, if you've seen a PTA movie, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. And One Battle After Another has that quality, which I think is helped by a lot of things, but definitely the editing adds to that, yeah, maybe it's not 3 hours, 2.5 hours, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's why I think that should win Best Editing. Then I would say, yeah, Sinners was well edited, I suppose. And Marty Supreme, the thing about Marty Supreme, though, again, I can't point to like bad editing in it, but for me, unlike One Battle, which I felt like had this cool kind of flow to it, Marty Supreme did kind of feel a little repetitive at times to me, and I don't know if that comes down to the editing at all, but off the vibe of that, I'm going to put it at 3. Then F1, you know, impressive race sequences, but that's, I don't know, yeah, those were impressive. The rest of the movie I don't think is anything to write home about, really, but I'll put that 4, and then Sentimental Value, I'll just put it 5, because, yeah, again, I can't, like, point out something that was, like, incredibly well edited about it, but I'm sure it was. But, yeah, that's why I'm putting it at 5. Next up, we have Cinematography, which is a bit of an interesting one. I think Sinners is going to win this, again, because it's an awardsy movie, but also it is incredibly well shot. It has the scene of the year, you know, the big musical sequence. So that counts for a lot. I guarantee you they will show that when they're presenting this award. But in general, it's really well shot. I think it does a great job with the, you know, like I've talked about with Sinners before, the genre-ness of it mixed with the sort of prestige, well-written aspects of it. Like it has these, you know, the way it's shot sometimes, this horror vampire style, which is fun. And it's a great looking film. You know, there's some of those landscape shots that are great. I think Sinners will take this. I would say Train Dreams is up next because it is like the most... Train Dreams, I think, is the most obviously well shot. Like, it's one of the positives and one of my complaints with Train Dreams. Like, it is marvelously shot. It's fucking unbelievable looking film. To me, it kind of was reliant on that. It was like, and it was almost like overly reliant on it, where when every shot looks like, you know, some kind of screensaver, postcard, whatever, then it loses its impact a little bit. And I didn't feel like the rest of the film, like the writing and stuff, was like as effective as like how beautifully shot it was might make you think. But it is fantastically shot, so I feel like that's definitely a follow-up. Then Frankenstein, you know, it's shot like a Guillermo del Toro movie. Those are shot well. It fits the fantasy style of it. One Battle After Another and Marty Supreme are shot well. I don't think they're going to win. And in terms of who I think should win, yeah, I would give it to Train Dreams. Because if we're talking like purely cinematography, that is a phenomenal looking film. You know, whoever was in charge of of making that movie look good, they nailed it. So I would give it to them. Then Sinners, then Frankenstein, Marty, One Battle. That's my cinematography rundown. Next up, we have animated film. This one's a bit tough because I have only seen 2 of them, so predicting, and I don't know much about the others, so predicting is a bit tough. But I'm gonna say KPop Demon Hunters wins. It feels a little silly to say now because it doesn't, you know, it was sort of like just a fun Netflix movie that came out. When it came out, it was such a phenomenon. I was like, well, this is gonna be the winner at the end of the year. But now I don't know, because Arco, I've heard Arco's good. I don't know anything about it. I feel like maybe that could sneak in there. Zootopia 2, maybe. You know, it was fun. I don't know if I feel that buzz around it. There was a time where it was like only Disney Pixar movies were winning, basically. But now I feel like, you know, we got Flow last year, and I don't know. I feel like Zootopia 2, I wouldn't say it's like a guaranteed winner. I'm gonna say K-pop Demon Hunters as the winner, though. It's a tough one for me to call. And in terms of who should win, I've only seen the 2, but I like Zootopia 2 more than K-pop Demon Hunters, so I'll say, yeah, sure, that should win. But maybe Arco or Little Amelie are amazing. Who's to say? And maybe Elio. Maybe Elio is the best movie of all time. I don't fucking know. Next up, we have score. This is it, man. This is a competitive category. I have to say, this is one of the tighter races here. Actually, there are a lot of tight races. I think Sinners is gonna win. I think that's another kind of lock, like an incredibly obvious pick. It has a great score. It's Ludwig Göransson, and it's a movie about music. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the score, to be fair, again, a little bit like the cinematography, the versatility of the score I think is great, where, I love the kind of, I don't know how to describe music, but like the twangy southern vibe to some of it, and then like when the horror genre stuff starts happening, the big bombastic like monster movie type of score. I think it's great. It's a great score. It's a movie about music. It's gonna win. I would say then, not an impossibility to win. I think Sinners, I would be very shocked if Sinners doesn't win this. But the rest of these are like competitive in their own way. Because one battle after another, you have Johnny Greenwood. He's doing it's a very memorable score. It's like a different kind of score, which I feel like goes a long way. It's that piano music in one battle after another. Sort of original and unique sounding. And it fits the movie's vibe. It's a great score. I think that's up next. Hamnet, I don't remember what the fuck the music was like in Hamnet, I'll be honest, but I'm sure it was beautiful and award worthy. Put that in there. Frankenstein has that Guillermo del Toro fantasy movie music, good. And Bugonia, I just don't think it's going to win this category. Although in the should win, I would put Bugonia number 3 because I really like the Bugonia score. I couldn't fucking hum it for you, but I remember thinking while watching the movie, I was like, damn, this is great music and it fits the tone of the film really well. And I'd put Bugonia and then Frankenstein. And then Hamnet. Next up, we have makeup and hairstyling. This is another one where I do think Sinners is going to get beat out. I think it'll be Frankenstein taking it home. This feels kind of obvious. They did the monster. It's the main makeup effect of the year. Frankenstein's monster. They made Jacob Elordi into a big, tall, bald man. It was great. It was very good makeup. It's the fantasy movie. I think it'll win. Like, Sinners has good makeup and hairstyling. But I just feel like, again, a little bit like with sound, with editing, sometimes I feel like the film with the most obvious example of it will be the one that wins. So maybe if they're like an accumulation of makeup and hairstyling across all the different things in Sinners is better than like the one big makeup moment in Frankenstein, I think Frankenstein will still win. Plus, there's some hairstyling in Frankenstein, I guess. Maybe they hairstyled fucking Waltz's beard. I don't know. But besides that, the Smashing Machine, I'd say, is not going to win. But, they made Dwayne look a certain way. Counts for something, I suppose. And then I have to say I put The Ugly Stepsister and Kokuho at the back just because I haven't seen them and I don't think they're going to win. And I would rank them the same as in terms of who should win for kind of the same reasons. Next up, we have the first ever casting Oscar, which will be quite exciting to see. Kind of see how this plays out also could indicate like what this category is all about for future years. I think this one is also pretty obviously going to go to Sinners. I'm pretty sure they just won a cast award at the Actor Awards, so maybe that's some kind of indicator. But they have, it feels like fucking everyone in that movie is nominated for an award. You have Michael B. Jordan, Wunmi Masaku, Delory Lindo. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting about someone, but yeah, it is a fantastic cast as well. Those people, Miles Caton, who am I forgetting? Haley Steinfeld. Everyone in that movie is pretty fantastic. Jack O'Connell as well. He was great. So, yeah, it is like an ensemble feeling cast, I guess. Not that it's like the biggest names in Hollywood, but it is like every character was quite memorable in that film. And again, I'm kind of still bummed that Miles Caton didn't get a nomination. But yeah, I think Sinners takes it, and it's the movie of the moment, I feel like. It's Sinners' time to shine. It will take it. Then I'd say One Battle, because that also has a pretty fantastic cast where there's so many memorable characters. Leo, Teyana Taylor, Regina Hall, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn. I can slide between here. That's one I think honestly should win. I think that is like, Sinners is great, but I feel like everyone was so memorable in One Battle. I feel like coming out of it, I was like, I don't know who's going to get nominated for an Oscar here, because everyone was so great. Then Marty Supreme. I appreciate Marty Supreme's, like, weird casting, where you have, like, fucking, I don't know. I fucking hate, what's his name? Mr. Wonderful. But, someone like that, Tyler, the Creator, the guy from the New York subway, whatever, the guy, his friend whose house he crashes at. Weird casting, which is fun, but I wouldn't say it competes with these two. And then Hamnet and The Secret Agent are, very well cast movies. I just feel like they don't stand out in the same way that these others do. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the casting Oscar. Then we have costume design. This one is also, I don't know, I feel like pretty basic. I think Sinners is going to win. Again, period piece. You have old school 1920s costumes that are impressive, and they get all tattered up with blood and whatnot. That's some good stuff. Then I'd say Hamnet is likely the second most likely, just because it's a Shakespearean, again, sort of period piece, and they look like they're wearing Shakespearean clothes, and there's that bit at the end at the theater where there's a bunch of extras, and they have to make costumes for all of them, so that's impressive. And it's about theater, even though there's only like the play bit at the end, but maybe there's some meta thing about costumes in theater, and they made costumes for a play in a movie. I don't know. Hamnet, I think, is competitive here, although I think Sinners will win. Then Frankenstein, again, sort of, I don't know if it's a period piece, but it's a, not set in our times, so there's contemporary times, so there's costumes to be had, but I feel like Frankenstein is mostly the most impressive, aspect of all that stuff is the makeup for Jacob Elordi. Then Marty Supreme, yeah, it makes it look like it's in the 1950s. Is that when that movie's set? Yeah, 1950s. They got some suits on. It's pretty good. And then I put Avatar Fire and Ash at the end here because I feel like that still counts as visual effects. Maybe that's my own misunderstanding of this category, but like the costumes that they have. First of all, aren't they mostly fucking naked? These Na'vi Avatar people, they have like loincloths, don't they? But if you're counting like the design of the Avatar people, again, I would think that's more visual effects. But I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. But I'm putting that last. I don't think that's going to win. And in terms of who should win, yeah, I think I would have it mostly the same. I'd put Marty Supreme up there because I did actually like the, I thought the 1950s, it made it, it was a very atmospheric movie. It made it feel like you were in the 1950s, despite, some of the wacky hijinks and fucking Tyler the Creator not really acting like a 1950s person, just sort of acting like Tyler the Creator. But I think the costumes went a long way in that. They were impressive. Maybe I just think I like the 1950s style. But yeah, because I'm sorry, Hamnet is just like, yeah, they looked Shakespearean. I don't know, it didn't really stand out to me much, but I think Sinners will and should win. Next up, we have original screenplay. This one was a bit tricky because I was pretty sure Sentimental Value would win this, and I'm not counting it out. I feel like this one is quite competitive, but Sinners did win screenplay. I think at whatever the last award thing. I guess the BAFTAs, maybe the Golden Globes. Sinners won some screenplay thing recently. I've come around a little bit on the Sinners screenplay. It was one of my bigger problems with the film when I first saw it, just because I think the second half becomes a little bit more cliche and falls into, vampire movie tropes as opposed to the first half, which was like really cool, atmospheric, vibey movie. But I feel like I've come around a bit where, like, taken as a whole, that screenplay, it is very original. It's like a very cool idea. And the way it incorporates, even in the second half, which is a bit more cliche, the way it incorporates character stuff and emotional moments, I feel like it's still quite impressive. So I'm not against Sinners winning Best Screenplay, and I think it will take it because it is, especially for like original screenplay, it is a very original concept for a film, the whole thing taken as a whole. I know it's like, it's a ripoff of Dusk Till Dawn, or it's a cliche vampire movie at the end, but like the whole package I think is an original idea. So I think it will win. Then Sentimental Value, just a great script, and it's about movie making and such. Then Marty Supreme, good script. I don't think the script is like the most interesting part of the film. And then I don't think it was just an accident or Blue Moon are going to win. And in terms of who I think should win, I would give it to Sentimental Value. I think it was just a very well-written film. I didn't love the ending or like sort of how it ties together with a bow on top at the end. Maybe I'm just used to like my Scandinavian cinema being more depressing, but I thought that was like a little Hollywood-like, although maybe there's a meta thing there because it's about Hollywood and actresses and movies and whatever. But I thought like the ending of The Worst Person in the World was a bit more poignant, but still an excellently written throughout, quite subtle family dynamics, this kind of stuff, screenplay, really, really good film. Then I go Sinners, Marty Supreme, and yeah, Blue Moon. I'm sorry, Richard Linklater, my goat. I did not love Blue Moon. It's just funny because I was talking to my mom and she was like, oh yeah, try to watch Blue Moon, and like 30 minutes in, I was like, are they gonna stop talking? I was like, yeah, because normally with Linklater movies, I don't mind that. I love Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, where it's just talking. I love Boyhood, where like nothing's really happening, whatever. But yeah, Blue Moon, I was like, man, he sure is talking a lot, and this is not as like sort of charismatic or engaging as I think the movie maybe thinks it is. So anyway, yeah, Blue Moon, possibly a good screenplay, but in execution, didn't hit as hard as it could have, in my opinion, and I've not seen It Was Just an Accident yet. Yeah, that's screenplay. I should say that's original screenplay, because then we have adapted screenplay. This is a no-brainer. This is going to One Battle After Another, for sure. It's a great screenplay. It's PTA. It's funny and poignant. It has, like, modern-day commentary. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty safe bet. Next, most likely, I guess I would say Hamnet, just because, it's a well-written drama. Train Dreams, I don't think it's going to get a lot of love on awards night. I don't think it's going to pick up a lot of awards. I could possibly see, One Battle's going to win. I think there's, like, maybe a 5% chance Train Dreams somehow picks up original screenplay. And then, yeah, Bugonia is not going to, and Frankenstein's not going to, I don't think. And this is not, like, because there's no world where they could win. I just think it's, like, One Battle is, like, 90% going to win, and then the rest have to split it amongst, the remaining 10%. In terms of who should win, I think One Battle should win. I think it's a great screenplay. Like I said before, between the humor and the emotional beats and the modern day commentary. I don't think it's anywhere near PTA's best screenplay. I think it's one of his, like, less subtle movies, or less, like, I just think of, like, Phantom Thread or something, where it's, like, I don't know, you sort of pick up what the movie's putting down and you absorb it and you're kind of in that world, whereas One Battle, I think it's great. It does sort of directly tell you some of the things it wants you to pick up from the movie, and, like, and the ending's a little bit on the nose, and, but still, it's one of his more on-the-nose movies. I still think it's a great screenplay. Then I would say Bugonia, honestly. Again, Bugonia is not going to get much love on Oscar night, but I really liked Bugonia in the screenplay. I don't know, I feel like every time I think about Bugonia, I'm like, that was a really good movie. When I watched it, I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, that was really, like, just well made and, tense and funny, and I think the characters were really interesting. Yeah, I think Bugonia would be number 2. Then I guess, yeah, Hamnet is, it's pretty well written. I suppose Frankenstein is just sort of Frankenstein, good screenplay. And then Train Dreams, I'm sorry to hate on Train Dreams, I know a lot of people love it. I thought it was, like, an impressive, Terrence Malick-y movie. I think the cinematography was great. I think the screenplay wasn't bad, but it also wasn't, like, super deep. It was a little bit basic, I guess. I don't know. I think my friend Lucas put it well, where there's a sort of poignant moment with what's his name? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. The old guy, the Coen Brothers guy, but he has this moment where he's like, look around. He's like sitting with his back on a tree. He's like, look at this, isn't it beautiful? And it kind of feels like the movie's like, this is our, like, deep, beautiful moment, and you haven't really earned that. Like, as a movie, this isn't that deep or beautiful yet. And I don't think it ever really gets there, but still good, still fine. I would not give that best screenplay, though, personally. All right, now we come to the acting categories, starting with supporting actress. This is, I think, maybe the most interesting race to watch here, because I've flipped a lot on, like, how I thought this was going to go, because I thought for a while I was like, well, Teyana Taylor is 100% going to win, she's a lock. And then with the nomination of Wunmi Mosaku and the sort of the rise of sinners in this award conversation, I was like, you know what, maybe they'll give it to her. And then Amy Madigan, who I didn't even think should be nominated, not because I'm like, she sucked or whatever, I just thought when people were talking about, like, no way Amy Madigan doesn't get nominated, I thought that was just, like, a weird take. I was like, it's a horror movie, it was, well received, but it wasn't, like, the best movie of the year or something, like, I sort of doubt she'll get in there. And she did, which, to be honest, despite my criticisms of Weapons, I kind of like seeing, because she is great in that film. The film is maybe a little bit better than I gave it credit for. I think more fondly about Weapons now than I did when I first saw it. And she's a very memorable performance. I feel like that could be, like, a bit of an iconic character in years to come. So yeah, I'm down for it. And to be honest, I think she's gonna win. I think she has the momentum. I feel like the smart choice here, the more likely choice, is probably Teyana Taylor. That's, like, where the smart money's at. But for some reason, I can just, like, I don't know if you can explain this. If you watch sports, you might have this where, like, you just get a vision in your head where you're like, I know what's gonna happen. And I feel like this is gonna age poorly when she doesn't win. But I can see the person saying Amy Madigan, everyone cheering and applauding. And in that sense, I feel like she is, I'm not saying she would not earn this on the merits of the performance, but I feel like she is someone, I imagine she's someone in Hollywood who has, like, friends, and this sounds like and she bribed her way to the top. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, it's almost like it's her time. Like, it's like, oh, Amy Madigan, she's nominated for an Oscar, that's great, and she wins, like, that's really cool. Like, I can just see it being like a wholesome story of like someone who's had a, you know, normal Hollywood career, not really been like an awards darling or a massive star, has this moment where like everyone's just like, people seem to just like her in Hollywood, and she has like this moment. I'm not saying she would win because people like her, I'm just saying I can picture it being like the Amy Madigan moment. Isn't this nice? I feel like there's some apt comparison in like a previous award show that I'm blanking on right now, but yeah, I can see Amy Madigan winning. I think the smart money's on Teyana Taylor, but I'm gonna go with Amy Madigan. And, you know, maybe Wunmi Mosaku wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. But yeah, that's my prediction. And I do think, unfortunately, the Sentimental Value actresses are going to get locked out of this this conversation. In terms of who should win, personally, like, again, this was a tough one because I honestly think these are all pretty much equally good performances. I think I put Wunmi Mosaku at the end just because, like, I just don't think she does as much in the film. Like, she just doesn't have as big of a role as some of these other characters. Although, I don't know, technically, I guess, like, Amy Madigan isn't in, and Teyana Taylor isn't actually in One Battle After Another that much. I've just defeated my own argument. I think it's also because in Sinners, I've talked about this before, but, like, I love Wunmi Mosaku and Delory Lindo in the first half. I think they're great. And in the second half, when it becomes a little bit more of a, you know, normal genre movie, they become more like genre-y characters. Like, Wunmi Mosaku just becomes the character who sort of, like, delivers exposition and talks about vampires. And Delory Lindo just becomes kind of like the funny comic relief, I just shit my pants guy. And for that reason, I feel like that's why I honestly didn't even think of them as, like, nominees in these categories. I'm happy to see them nominated, like, that's nice, but I would not, I don't know, I personally, I would put, like, and I'm gonna butcher this name for, like, the 50th fucking time this award season, but Inga Ipsdottir Lilleås, the supporting actress, one of the supporting actresses in Sentimental Value. I thought she was great. Like, it's not one of those where I'm like, and she's the obvious standout amongst these. Like, if any of these won, I'd be fine with it. But I feel like when I think about what was the performance that moved me the most of these, yeah, I would say her. I thought Teyana Taylor was great for the, like, small amount of time she has on screen in that film. She makes a big impact. The fact that, like, everyone's still talking about her performance, considering she's only, like, in the start of the film, I think that's impressive. And does she come back at the very end, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't remember. But, you know, she's not in that film much. Elle Fanning, I thought, was really good in Sentimental Value. And I feel like she's sort of, I feel like Elle Fanning's performance, because she's playing, like, a Hollywood actress in this, like, Scandinavian cinema world where it's a little bit like the Hollywoodisms, Americanisms come out. Maybe that translates into people not being, like, as crazy about her performance or thinking, like, it's not subtle enough for something in comparison. But like, that's kind of the point of the movie. Like, it's in comparison to this Scandinavian style of conversation and art and this kind of stuff. It's one of the points of the movie. One interesting part of the film is the comparison to the American side of things, and she plays that perfectly. I think it's honestly, like, a more subtle performance than maybe it's been given credit for. I haven't heard anyone bad-mouthing it, but the fact that it's not even, like, in conversation to win with most people, I'm like, that's surprising. She was really good. And then, yeah, again, Amy Madigan, great in Weapons. I don't know, I guess I'm still just surprised about it, but she was good, she was fun. Again, maybe I just didn't love, like, the story of that character. I thought the twist was kind of lame, that she's just, like, she's magic, whatever, but it's a great performance. And Wunmi Mosaku is also great. So that's but yeah, a very compelling supporting actress race here. We then have the best supporting actor race, which is, honestly, also a very, you know what, these top 5 categories are very, very compelling. I feel like a lot of years there are definite locks. This year, not so much. Ah, man. Yeah, this is another one. This is like, what was it, international feature, where I'm like, should I switch this? Because for the longest time, I was like, it's Stellen Skarsgård's year. A little bit different, but a little bit like Amy Madigan. We're like, Stellen Skarsgård, he's been around, he's been consistent, he's always good, he seems like a cool, fun guy. He's never been, like, you know, the huge awards guy. He's never been, like, the lead in a big franchise movie, as far as I know. I'm not counting, like, the Thor movies as a lead. And it's sort of like, oh, wow, he gave a great performance. You know, he's had a cool story with where he had this medical, I think it was a stroke or something, and he thought he wouldn't act, and then he does act still, and he gives this great performance. It felt like, it's like, okay, this is the Stellan Skarsgård moment, what a great performance. But then there's Sean Penn, and Sean Penn's been picking up awards as well. And he was very memorable as Colonel Lockjaw, sort of like again, talking about, like, characters that will be iconic in the future. Some people thought he was a bit over the top. I thought it was, like, a really, like, fun performance in that sense. Like, it was meant to be over the top, and I think he did that well. And his weird fucking mannerisms and his, yeah, I don't know if they'll show the "Do you like black girls" clip at the Oscars, but that is a memorable part of that film. It's between them. It's like a 49-51 type of thing. I'm gonna say Sean Penn, because also, he is a little bit of an awardsy guy. And he's playing a character that is directly part of like the commentary on the real world aspect of One Battle After Another, which I feel like also plays well at the Oscars. I don't know. Yeah, it's really tough. I'm gonna say Sean Penn. I would not be surprised at all if it was Stellen Skarsgaard. And also, Delory Lindo, I would not be that surprised if he won. I'll be honest, I don't think he should win, just on, I think it's, like we talked about, I think it's a good performance. I don't think it's as good as, Stellen Skarsgård's, for example. But I do think Sinners has this momentum, and I do think, and I'm not, trying to be cynical or whatever, I just think this is, I was gonna say statement of fact. I don't know, it's my opinion, but I don't think it's crazy to say that this whole BAFTA controversy could push Sinners, Delory Lindo, Michael B. Jordan, because they've been in the spotlight and they were, part of this really unfortunate thing that happened. And it could be a little bit of a sign that we support you amongst this thing that's happening in this unfortunate racial slur incident, to show that there is support for these actors. And again, I made a video about it. It sucks that happened. It sucks for everyone involved. If anyone's to blame, it's the fucking BBC. But yeah, I'm not insinuating there was some kind of planned thing where to promote or to add momentum to their Oscar campaigns. But I think just purely logically speaking, I think it could add a little bit of momentum to the possibility of them winning. Again, not in a weird, cynical, they did it on purpose kind of way or something. I just think that is a thing that could be a result of that. But I still think Sean Penn and Stellen Skarsgård are the front runners. Jacob Elordi, again, this wouldn't be the wildest thing to happen, but I don't know. Yeah, amongst this other competition, I don't think he's going to win. But he did a performance. He did a weird thing playing a monster and all that, and he did it well. And then Benicio del Toro. I loved Benicio del Toro in One Battle, but he's not going to win. Just because, yeah, amongst this competition, and there's a guy from the movie that is, more likely to win. If he beat Sean Penn in that movie, winning an award for the same movie, I would be surprised. But he is great. He is wonderful. He was one of my favorite parts of the film. I think also maybe because he's, more of a comedic character. I don't know if the Oscars, maybe they don't take that as seriously as a deep performance like Stellan Skarsgård or something, but he was great. He was really good, and they should, and maybe they do. I don't know. In terms of who should win, I would say Stellan Skarsgård. I thought he was fantastic. Just a really beautiful performance, and just seems, I loved his variety actors on actors thing. He seems like a really fun guy. Then I'd say Sean Penn. Again, I liked his, weird Vince McMahon-y performance. Yeah, I thought he was great. Jacob Elordi did do a lot. He was a monster. He was speaking in broken sentences or whatever, and dressed in makeup and some such. He was good. Benicio del Toro, very good performance, very fun, delightful. And then, yeah, Delory Lindo, basically the same thing I said about Wunmi Mosaku. Loved him in the first half. I think the scene, and this will be the bit they play, I assume, the scene where they're in the car and he's talking about his backstory or whatever. Beautiful scene. That scene, if he had that energy, the film gave that character that kind of spotlight and that kind of energy for the rest of the film, I'd be yeah, that's an Oscar-worthy performance. That's a great scene. But then I think he does become kind of comic relief character, and yeah, that's why I'd put him there. But yeah, that's supporting actor. Then we have Best Actress. This actually is not that compelling of a race, just because it's very obvious Jessie Buckley's going to win. I feel like that's a pretty strong lock. Rose Byrne doesn't have no chance at all, but it's Jessie Buckley. I mean, yeah, that's the Hamnet is an awardsy movie. I think this is one of the few things that it will pick up. And she gives a great performance, and she has, grief and screaming and then crying, but also some subtleties in her performance. She has the whole Oscar package. I think she's going to take it. Then Rose Byrne is up next because, she has, that film is focused on her, and she gives a great performance. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to compete with Jessie Buckley. Then Renat Renzve, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly again for the fucking 50th time in this award season. I should really just learn these things off by heart. But she's great in Sentimental Value. I think, yeah, she's up there, but she's not going to win, I don't think. Emma Stone, she's very good. I don't think she's going to win. At the start, it was oh, Emma Stone, in a Yorgos Lanthimos movie, and she's an Oscar darling. But Bugonia, I don't think had the splash that some of these other films had, and especially with the performance. And I do feel like she's great in the film. I do feel like the film is kind of stolen by Jesse Plemons, who not being nominated is a crime, I have to say. And then Kate Hudson's Song Sung Blue, she's not going to win. I haven't seen the film. Maybe she's great, but she's not going to. Yeah, she's not going to win. And who should win, in my opinion? I would put Renate Reinsve number 1. I loved the subtleties in her performance, and I just thought that was a great, really well-performed, well-written film. Then, yeah, Jessie Buckley is obviously great in Hamnet, and I liked Emma Stone in Bugonia as well. I've seen half of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I had to stop it to go do something else, but from what I saw, she was great. She'd probably be number 2 on my list if I finished the film. Rose Byrne, and yeah, I've not seen Song Sung Blue. But yeah, that's Best Actress. Then we come to Best Actor, which is also another compelling race that I feel like has been ebbing and flowing. Because at the start it was like, okay, well, this is obviously DiCaprio's award to lose. And then, I don't know, maybe one battle after another coming out in September. I think I predicted this in my October, early predictions video. I feel like it's lost a bit of momentum in award season. It does feel like a long time ago it came out. And I feel like Sinners is almost, it was so long ago that it's kind of revitalized or something. I feel like when One Battle came out, it was super hype, it's going to win all the awards, and then it slumped a little bit, and it's oh yeah, it's not like people didn't like it, but just in terms of people talking about it. And I feel like in this award season, the excitement around Sinners has been more palpable. But yeah, and then of course it was Timothee Chalamet's going to win. Marty Supreme, he's doing this big campaign. He's very good in it. It's kind of like Timothee Chalamet's time. He's had a bunch of nominations. He hasn't won yet. He wants to win. There's a narrative around Timothee Chalamet winning an Oscar. And then Sinners comes through and has this, 16 nominations. It becomes this big deal where it's maybe there could be a bit of a Sinners sweep. And then again, and it's sort of an awkward, uncomfortable thing to talk about, so I don't really want to get into it that much. But again, I think this BAFTA thing could push some support for Michael B. Jordan and Delory Lindo and the movie Sinners, to kind of, back it up in the face of whatever you want to call that entire debacle that happened at the BAFTAs. And with that, to be honest, this is one that I think I'm going to regret as well. This is one where when Timothee Chalamet wins, I'll be yeah, of course he was going to win. Why did I not pick Timothee Chalamet? I'm going to say Michael B. Jordan wins. I'm going to throw it out there. Because, again, like I talked about, the Sinners momentum, he is playing 2 characters. I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff, this is anecdotal, but a lot of stuff about, the subtleties between the characters. How he gave one character dimples, and how he wore different fucking shoes for another character. Stuff that's, actory, and wow, that performance is really impressive that he played 2 characters. And I think, to be honest, it is really impressive that he played 2 characters, very distinctly. The fact that they're both kind of, iconic characters, and you could, pretty much off... the fact that there were people who I've talked to who saw Sinners that were oh, those guys were both Michael B. Jordan? Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize he played both guys. They just thought they got 2 remarkably similar-looking guys, or another guy who looked like Michael B. Jordan to play his twin. I don't know what their actual line of thought was, but the fact that they are totally distinguishable is really impressive. And I think that deserves some respect. Yeah, do I think he's the best performance? I guess we'll get to who should win, but I think I would not be mad at it. I also like Michael B. Jordan. He seems like a cool guy, and, Creed is one of my favorite films. I've loved Michael B. Jordan since I was since 2015, so it'd be cool to see. But yeah, I'm gonna say Michael B. Jordan. I'm gonna regret this because Timothee Chalamet is definitely gonna win, but I'm gonna say Michael B. Jordan. That's my prediction. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm that doesn't sound right. I can, again, when you hear the person in your head, I'm I can hear them saying Timothee Chalamet, and everyone starts clapping, whatever. I'm gonna say number 2, Timothee Chalamet. That being said, though, Timothy and his Oscar campaign, maybe that has, alienated some Academy voters. I've talked to some people about this, and there have been mixed things about, opinions on how that campaign he did will affect his chances. There's something about the viral marketing that's compelling and interesting, and I'm sure some people appreciate the, chasing greatness aspect of it and the ambition. But also, perhaps there's some people, a lot of people I know in my personal life, maybe there's some people in the Academy who find it to be sort of obnoxious. A little bit like myself, to be honest. I'm semi-amused by it, and then I'm also God, you're annoying. Shut the fuck up, bro. Please. I don't know, but I feel like the fact that it's not a slam dunk seems like a bit of a risk, all this marketing. Yeah, and by the way, the performance is very good. When he's talking about it's next level shit, it's a very good performance. I don't think it's an unbelievable, life-changing performance. It's very good. But But yeah, and I will also say, to be fair, there's been this ballet opera thing where he said, some disparaging things about ballet and opera, and are there some artsy people in the Academy who will be offended by that? I'm not sure. Also, to be fair, when I'm talking about that and then also the Sinners BAFTA situation, I think Oscar voting closed recently. Like, I think Oscar voting was still open, but I don't know how it works where, like, if you cast your vote, can you change your vote? Because then if people have already voted, then maybe those situations won't affect it too much. I don't know. I'm not in the Academy. Surprise. I don't know how it works, but just some speculation on my part. But yeah, and then DiCaprio, who was sort of like in the running. I think he's now number 3 on the list, to be honest. I still will not be surprised to see him win. But again, One Battle feels like it came out a long time ago, which is weird to say since it came out after Sinners, but it feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like a little bit of more of an afterthought now in award season, to me at least. Even though it was, when I saw it, I was like, well, that's 100% going to win. And DiCaprio, he is, like, Chalamet is Marty Supreme. Like, the movie Marty Supreme is Chalamet's performance. One Battle After Another is, like, more of an ensemble thing, where DiCaprio is a piece of the thing. It could be argued he's not even the main character. I've said this before. Like, I feel like Chase Infinity is more the main character than he is, which, by the way, again, speaking of Miles Caton, another sort of crime that Chase Infinity was not nominated. But yeah, and he's funny, and he's goofy, and he does, like, a good performance. I don't think it's anything, like, crazy from DiCaprio. Like, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we already kind of saw him play, like, washed guy a little bit. He's very good. Wouldn't be surprised. But also, the Academy is, up until The Revenant, they were famous for snubbing DiCaprio for the awards. So, who's to say? Maybe that'll continue here. But I'm putting him at number 3. Wagner Moura at number 4. He won a Golden Globe, but that was in not the same category, I believe, as DiCaprio and Chalamet, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think that counts for something, but maybe it's not like the ultimate indicator, but he is very good, in that film. I wouldn't be, again, these are like, I would be more leaning the first two, but if any of these top 4 win, I wouldn't be super shocked. The only one who I would be quite surprised winning would be, Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon, who, yeah. I mean, again, I'm sorry, Ethan Hawke, I love you, and I love Blue Moon, or I love, Richard Linklater. This was clearly such a performance movie. Like, it was like an actor's dream, it's him playing this eccentric character. He's in makeup, and they've made him look short, and he basically monologues the entire fucking movie. And it was all set up to be a classic BHL movie. I was expecting to really like it. And it just didn't work for me. And I think, honestly, I'm gonna say it, I think Ethan Hawke was miscast in this role. I think he, like, on the surface, it's like quite an impressive performance, all the makeup and the long monologues and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like the character he was playing, the guy is like such a clearly interesting, specific kind of guy, eccentric, flamboyant. And I feel like with the right performance, it could have been this like maybe a slightly more unknown actor. It could have been this really like interesting, memorable character. And I'll be honest, I just couldn't not see Ethan Hawke doing a performance. Like, it felt a little bit like in a play where, I don't know, that's a bad comparison, but like you see someone doing some acting and you're like, I know they're like, I'm not like in the world exactly. I know they're acting, but it's still pretty impressive. But like this, I was like, yeah, I know that's Ethan Hawke. I'm not really convinced it's not Ethan Hawke doing like an actor performance for an Oscar movie. Like, it felt a little bit like in a sitcom, they'd be like, and nominated is Ethan Hawke. And they would play this clip of him like, in all this makeup doing a big monologue or whatever. Anyway, that play comparison didn't really make much sense. Disregard that. But I couldn't articulate that the way I wanted to, but yeah, Blue Moon I would put there. And in terms of who should win, I would give it to Chalamet, even though I think he's kind of fucking annoying, and I don't think the performance was like next level shit. He was very good, and he is sort of like the central figure of that movie. Although you could argue maybe like just the general chaos and vibe is the central figure in the central part of that film, but it was a good performance. I think it's the best of these. I'd then say DiCaprio. He is very good. He has a lot of funny moments. I'd put him there. Then I'd say Michael B. Jordan. Again, very impressive playing the two different people very distinctly. I will say, and I have like a video I'm making on like worst performances in good movies, and I do a little thing about Michael B. Jordan there, which feels a bit mean, but Michael B. Jordan, I think like 90% of the time, he's great. And there's like 10% of the time where he delivers lines like in a little bit of a corny way. And I hate to do the, whatever his bullies said about him back in school, the corny kid, but like, I feel like if you've seen, Creed, Black Panther, there are occasional lines where he will like deliver something in a bit of a way that like doesn't exactly hit. And it's just kind of hard for me to shake that. But in general, he's great in the film. He hits some emotional beats. He plays two characters. It's good. Then I'd say Wagner Moore, Secret Agent, just a very good performance. I don't have too much to say about it. And then, yeah, I talked about Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon. So yeah, that's Best Actor. Then we have Best Director, which is, I would say not super exciting, but there's still some chance for some surprise here. I think PTA is a pretty strong lock. It feels like Paul Thomas Anderson's year for One Battle After Another. I'm not sure if he's won an Oscar before for like There Will Be Blood for directing, but I don't think so. And I think it feels like it's his time. One Battle is great. It's a very PTA movie. It's a very like director's movie. He directed the hell out of that movie. I think One Battle is going to win. I wouldn't be super shocked if Coogler won. I feel like I've seen a lot of Coogler this award season. He's been winning awards, giving great speeches. Cool guy as well. Like, I like Coogler, and, I love Creed and all that kind of stuff. And he also, speaking of, like, directing the hell out of a movie, he directed the hell out of Sinners. Like, that is... It feels like a director's movie, Like, PTA and One Battle are, like, linked the same way that Coogler and Sinners are linked. That is, like, a director's film. So, yeah, I would not be super shocked. Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, I wouldn't be super shocked, although I don't think it'll beat Coogler. She'll beat Coogler or PTA, but yeah, she's won an Oscar before. I think she would be the first female director to win 2 Oscars, maybe, unless Jane Campion did that, but that'd be cool. But I don't think she has the same momentum that PTA or Coogler have. Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is a good movie and everything. I don't think he's going to beat this competition, and also I don't know how much this would affect it, but there has been that controversy around Josh Safdie, so that might affect it. And then I don't think Joachim Trier is going to win for Sentimental Value. I just don't think he has the name value or the momentum or the hype around Sentimental Value that these other 4 films have. In terms of who I think should win, I would give it to PTA. I would say, yeah, it's a deserved thing. Not his best film, but it feels like PTA should have an Oscar, and I'm going off of, again, this assumption that he doesn't already. It feels like sort of his year. I've seen him win a lot of stuff. Not that that's why he should win, why he probably will win, but yeah, it's a great movie. He directed the hell out of it. I think he should win. Then I'd say Joachim Trier. I just think he did a great job with Sentimental Value, and I look forward to seeing what he does next. Coogler with Sinners. Again, Coogler movie, very director movie. I like that. Stylistic and cool, and seemed like it took a lot of work and all this kind of stuff. That's cool. Then I'd say Safdie for Marty Supreme, and then I'd say Chloe Zhao Hamnet. In case you haven't picked up on it, like, I wasn't nuts about Hamnet. I thought it was very good. I didn't think it was, like, transcendent. Like, I thought the ending was pretty transcendent. I was like, oh, that's, like, if the whole movie was like this, like, had this kind of, not that the whole movie can be the emotional climax, but had this level of filmmaking, I'd be like, this is a 5-star movie. The final bit of Hamnet is 5 stars. The rest of it, especially the first hour, felt a little bit Oscar baity awards movie kind of things. I wasn't nuts about Hamnet, but yeah, I also wouldn't be upset if Chloe Zhao won, of course. But yeah, that's Best Director. All right, and finally, Best Picture, the big one. Let's see how this stacks up. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I know this is gonna sound crazy. Oh man, no, this is another one where I'm looking at it, I'm like, that just doesn't look right, because I've been saying for forever that One Battle After Another was going to win Best Picture. It's such an obvious pick. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. It's, with prestigious actors, and it's about, like, an incredibly relevant, like, socio-political topic. Like, it could not be more relevant. And it's really good as well. That helps a lot. And it's got all these performances. It seems like such an obvious Best Picture winner. I'll admit this. I'm working on this Best Picture ranked video on the main BHL channel. I've already put One Battle After Another in my ranking in anticipation of it winning Best Picture. But then this Sinners, the rise of Sinners, it just, I don't know. When it got 16 nominations, I was like, is this going to go all the way? And it just seems like the movie of the year. Like, I feel like more people will remember Sinners than One Battle After Another. That's not an indication of the quality necessarily, but like, it kind of feels like the Oppenheimer of 2026 or 2025, where like Oppenheimer was prestige and crowd-pleasing. Everyone saw it, everyone was talking about it, and it was like an awards darling, and it was well made. I don't know. And also, just again, this BAFTA thing, I think will, unless voting closed beforehand or whatever, but I think it will push it a little bit. It just feels like the movie of the year, and I think that will have some impact. I'm gonna say Sinners wins Best Picture. No, let me say confidently. I think Sinners will win Best Picture. Yeah, I just think I will feel very foolish when inevitably one battle wins Best Picture. But I would say, again, like International, like Best Supporting Actress, or whatever the other category was I said, I think it's like a 51-49 chance here. Then Hamnet could win. You know, it's a very Oscar-y movie. I wouldn't be wildly shocked, but I mean, that flies in the face of my 51-49 thing. Yeah, between those two, that's the odds I'd give it. But in general, yeah, Hamnet could win. I could see it. Would be a bit surprising, but it wouldn't be super shocking. I don't think Marty Supreme's going to win. I think Marty Supreme, most of the hype is around Timothee Chalamet's performance. I don't think he's going to win Best Picture. Sentimental Value just doesn't have the hype. Same with Secret Agent. Same with, Train Dreams, I don't think blew anyone away. And again, by the way, when we're getting like to 6 to 10 here, they're just not going to win. I'm sorry, it's just like, it's not going to happen. Like, it could be like a Green Book situation. Like F1, which I have at 10 here, that winning would be like Green Book to me. That would be like, oh, that's like the weirdest thing that could happen. But F1's not going to win. Bugonia, great film, not going to win. Frankenstein is just not going to beat Sinners, One Battle, Hamnet for Best Picture, and neither is Train Dreams. So I'm gonna put it on Sinners, but I don't know. Thankfully, I'm not a betting man, so I will not lose money on this when this goes wrong, but I'm gonna say Sinners tentatively. In terms of who should win, my ranking would be One Battle After Another. I think that is the best film of the bunch. By the way, No Other Choice should beat all of these films, because that movie was better than all of them, but One Battle After Another was very good. Sentimental Value was very good. Sinners was very good. Then Bugonia kind of snuck up there. Secret Agent, Marty Supreme, Hamnet, Frankenstein, Train Dreams, and F1. That would be my ranking. Not a film this year that I think like stands out. Like, it would be No Other Choice for me as like the great film of the year. Like, I know these are all, the top 5 especially here are all great films. But in terms of like unbelievable film, like the Parasite of the year, or the fucking, I don't know what one other years, like the La La Land or something. I know that didn't win, but a movie that like to me is like a stand above the rest. These top 5 are all like great 4-star movies in my opinion. But yeah, that's how I would rank them. And I'm gonna say Sinners wins Best Picture. It's not the safe bet, but I'm gonna go with it. And also, there's a lot on the line here because a couple years ago I did my Oscar predictions with like my film class, and I won a prize. I won some chocolate for getting the most predictions right, and so I'm still riding that high 2 years later. I'm like, I'm the Oscar predicting goat. Yeah, I'm gonna go Sinners. Okay, I'm sticking with it. Anyway, those are my Oscar predictions, my final predictions, and the ones that I think should win. What do you think of all this? What are your predictions? Let me know down below. Are you gonna come back to this and tell me it ages like milk after some of these go wrong? Potentially, that's it's very acceptable. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video. Check out my main channel, BHL Hudson. My podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. You can subscribe here. Check out my Instagram, BHL_Hudson, and my Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.